Imagine a world where your Android phone's battery life is like a precious resource, carefully managed by a virtual economy. Welcome to the intriguing story of Google's Android resource economy, TARE, a bold experiment that aimed to revolutionize how background apps consume power. But here's where it gets controversial. Google envisioned a system that would tax apps for their battery usage, creating a virtual currency and a complex economy to ensure efficient resource allocation. In this article, we'll delve into the fascinating concept of TARE, exploring how Google planned to implement this innovative idea and the potential impact it could have had on the Android ecosystem. Get ready to discover the inner workings of a virtual economy designed to maximize your phone's battery life. The Android resource economy, a virtual economy for battery management. TARE, short for the Android resource economy, was Google's ambitious project to tackle the age-old problem of background apps draining your phone's battery. It proposed a unique solution: treat battery power as a finite commodity and manage it through a virtual economy, complete with currency, costs, and regulations. The IRS, a central authority for resource management. At the heart of TARE was the Internal Resource Service, IRS, a central authority that acted as both a central bank and a regulatory body. The IRS was responsible for managing the virtual currency, known as Android Resource Credits, ARCs, and ensuring the efficient allocation of battery power. Earning credits, stimulus and rewards. Apps in the TARE economy maintained a balance of ARCs, which they needed to purchase the ability to run background tasks. The IRS provided a birthright balance when an app was installed, and it also offered a basic income when the device was charging to prevent apps from going bankrupt. Additionally, apps could earn ARCs through positive user engagement. The system rewarded apps with ARCs when users interacted with their notifications, opened the app, or even just viewed a notification. This encouraged apps to provide value to users and discouraged hoarding of ARCs. Spending and enforcement, prioritizing user value. Apps had to spend ARCs for all actions, except for VIPs like the OS itself or the actively used app. Before starting a task, the system checked if the app could afford the action bill, which included the price to start the task and an estimated runtime. If an app's balance dropped below the required amount, the task would be immediately stopped. The system was designed to maximize its profits by prioritizing tasks with a higher price, ensuring that actions providing more user value were favored. The consumption limit, managing global resource supply. TARE didn't just manage individual app balances, it also managed the global supply of resources, known as the consumption limit. This limit ensured that an action could only proceed if the app could afford the price, and the system's remaining consumption limit could cover the cost to produce, CTP. The consumption limit was tied to the device's battery level, with the limit at its maximum when the battery was full. As the battery level dropped, the available resources were reduced proportionally, reflecting the increased importance of power conservation when the battery was low. Regulation and dynamic tuning. Managing the economy. The IRS actively managed the economy through regulation. It periodically reclaimed a percentage of unused ARCs from apps that hadn't been used recently, preventing hoarding. The IRS also used dynamic tuning, adjusting the consumption limit based on historical battery drain against a target rate. If the battery was draining too slowly, the limit might be increased. If it was draining too quickly, the limit might be decreased. A terrible idea? The fate of TARE. TARE was a short-lived experiment, scrapped by Google with the release of Android 15. It was never rolled out on any devices, and its code was removed without an explanation. While the reasons for its abandonment are unknown, it's possible that the complexity of tuning a virtual economy to match real-world battery behavior was too ambitious. Given the far-reaching effects on apps, developers would have needed significant time to evaluate and make changes to support the new system, which could have been a burden for smaller teams. And this is the part most people miss. While TARE may have been a controversial idea, it highlights Google's commitment to optimizing the Android experience. By exploring innovative solutions like a virtual economy, Google demonstrates its willingness to push the boundaries of technology to enhance user experience. So, what do you think? Was TARE a brilliant concept or a terrible idea? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your opinions on this unique approach to battery management.